So just a couple more minutes here while I'm finding my page in the book for the reading. Okay. Awesome. Okay, you guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Ooh, sorry about that. Those are the things that happen when you're live. The wind just blew against my window really, really hard. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you decided to hop on the live today for our chapter reading from my book, Fighting Fiercely. If you guys are finding me or joining me for the first time, I am Michelle N. Johnson. I am the creator of the Fighting Fiercely Endometriosis Awareness Movement and the author of the book that we're going to be reading from today, Fighting Fiercely, Unveiling the Unknown about Endometriosis. And before we get into the reading, for those of you who are new here, hi Deloise, thank you so much for hopping on. For those of you who are joining me for the first time or seeing me for the first time, again, my name is Michelle Johnson. Awareness advocate. I have been advocating for about 10 years now. I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis in December 2007, early January 2008. And so I have been fighting with this disease for about 12 years now. And I wanted to do this live chapter reading because, as I was mentioning before, this March is typically nationally recognized as Endometriosis Awareness Month. And this year has been a little bit different with everything that's happening right now with the coronavirus, COVID-19 crisis. All of the marches and celebrations and events that we typically have planned for this time of year has pretty much been canceled, like all around the globe. And so with everybody either sheltering in place or being on lockdown or quarantine, however you guys are phrasing it, a lot of advocates have had to pull together. And although we're what they call socially distancing, we've actually had to use technology to actually pull together and bring us together. So a lot of the awareness events that were done this year were done online. And so Fighting Fiercely, we had the pleasure of being a part of some really, really cool events this past weekend. We connected with, and I hope I am not destroying your name, Amy, but Amy Melowish. She's an endo sister all the way from France, and she connected to bring us into this global event online, pulling advocates from here in the U.S., India, the UK, and we got together and created this Endo Weekender to kind of do what we would do in person, bringing in doctors, nutrition experts, advocates, endo survivors to share their testimony, put that all in an online space. I was able to partner with our endo bestie. Hey, Samantha. Samantha Bowick, the author of Living with Endometriosis. We were featured on her chronic illness podcast. So if you guys browse through the page, you can find all of those links and check that stuff out. So I wanted to kind of round out the month by reading a chapter from my book, just to give you guys a little bit of insight of what the book is, how you can find it helpful for you. The book is kind of structured in a couple different ways. Part of it is my story. I share my journey from diagnosis to what those first couple of years were like, the progression into my advocacy and how I started fighting fiercely. But I also, within that journey, talk about how I had to learn how to advocate for myself and how you can do the same. I talk about how endometriosis, what the symptoms are, how you can know if you have it, and how to distinguish endo from other diseases that also present with similar symptoms. I talk about how this disease impacts marriages, relationships, not just with your significant other, but with like your good girlfriends. Last week, I did a live with Conchetta Jones of the She's All That Confident Woman group to talk about how endo impacts our relationships with our good girlfriends, our best friends. Believe it or not, it can put a strain on those relationships. So all of that is in the book. I also provide a list of resources, how to find specialists for you, and different paths of treatment, from traditional medical paths to holistic paths, how to integrate the two. all of that good stuff. And so I want to just, before we hop into the reading, thank everybody who voted, who participated in the contest. I hope you guys had a really good time. And what I want to do is I'm going to read the chapter for you guys, and feel free to type in comments, questions along the way. And once I'm done reading, if I say something that resonates with you, that you're like, yeah, I went through that too, let me know. Give me some hearts and everything. Let me know that, it's resonating with you. And after I'm done reading, we'll break down a little Q&A. You can ask me anything about the chapter, about my journey, about the book, whatever you like. So are you guys ready? If you're ready, type I'm ready in the comments. And then we're going to get right into this thing. So again, thanks to everybody who voted. And so the winning chapter that we're going to be reading is, cyber drum roll, is going to be Relapse, Recover. So if you guys have the book, then you have all the chapter titles. But if you do have the book, with all of my titles, I presented with a quote from a movie or a song or something that I really like that resonates. And with this chapter, Relapse, Recover, I have the quote from one of the Public Enemy songs where Chuck D says, "Here we go again," because that's what that was. Relapse, Recover was written after my initial diagnosis and after my very first surgery, which, like most women with this disease, once I had my first surgery, I thought, this is it. They went in, they got out what was supposed to be taken out. It's no longer there. I'm good. That's the end of that. And I could not have been more wrong. And I'm pretty sure those of you out there who have gone through that can relate to exactly what it is that I'm saying. So that's what made me want to revisit and put that in the book. Like, after I thought everything was all good, and then I had a relapse, and then I had to recover from that again. So just a little warning, not sure if you are watching in front of little ones or friends or family, but the reading does contain some strong language, some mature language. There's a mature topic of discussion. So just want to put that out there in case you have to put your earbuds in or turn the volume down or scoot up real close, so that you guys can hear what I'm saying. But you guys ready? Looks like you guys are ready, so we're going to jump right in there. So here we go. Chapter 5, Relapse, Recover. And again, this is coming off the previous chapter where I talked about my initial surgery. Get through it is exactly what I did. I was determined to regain my pre-endo sense of normalcy. When I realized that I would never be able to do that, as my life had forever been changed by it, I decided to redefine my sense of post-endo normalcy instead. For example, rather than dread taking my medications, I mentally added them as just another practice in my daily routine. In fact, I added them right alongside my journaling, my prayers, and exercise routine. I was back to eating healthier and working out more consistently. I was even taking kickboxing and African dance classes. I worked when I needed to work, and I rested when I needed to rest. I ended my nights early or started my days later when I needed to adapt. I kept my meds on me at all times. I had even figured out a system of being preemptive with my pain meds so that I wouldn't crash on the days that I knew would be physically more strenuous. I was cautiously dedicated to my endo journal, taking meticulous care to record any changes, patterns, or anomalies in the manifestation of my symptoms. My career could not have been better. We received yet a third expansion of our corporate wellness program, including a 2-year extension on our contract and an increase in budget of $25,000. I had just hired my second employee, and he could not have been a more perfect fit. I was back to hanging out with my girls, kicking it on a regular basis. Hell, I had even started dating someone. Life was finally good again. After nearly a year, my suppression regimen seemed to be holding up, and I was finally settling into my new definition of normal. While I no longer was in denial about my new endo-fused reality, I also wasn't depressed or being held hostage by it either. Most of the time, I could go all day with little to no pain. And when those days became weeks and those weeks became months, I became so enthralled with living my life that I almost forgot I had it. Almost. Journal entry, Sunday, December 13th, 2009. It is a wonder how much a person's life can change in just a matter of days. The next morning after my last entry, December 9th, after a night of tumultuous bleeding and cramping and passing blood clots that looked like someone had dumped jars of grape jelly into my panties, I found myself in the ER at Northwestern Memorial Hospital with the same symptoms that showed up 18 months ago when I was first diagnosed with endometriosis. After 4 more hours of testing and more diagnosis, they have found yet another endometrioma, along with more fluid buildup in my right and, dare I say, only present working fallopian tube, which meant another damn surgery. As soon as possible is what they say. Unfortunately, I can't even get into a follow-up appointment for the next surgery until December 23rd. That's more than 2 weeks away. So now I'm stuck with all the incessant bleeding and cramping and overall fucked upness for another 2 weeks before they decide what to do with me. I'm not panicked. I'm not freaked out. I'm just frustrated and pissed. It's taken me just this long to finally recapture some semblance of normalcy to my life, my diet, my exercise, my confidence, my self-esteem, all of it. I was finally starting to feel normal again. Now, here we go again with this shit. I could not believe it. I was absolutely floored. The entire foundation of everything I've built over the past 18 months crumbled right before me in a matter of moments. All the memories, all the pain, all the emotions, all of the trauma, all of it poured over me like waves crashing with the force of a tsunami. My first thought was, I cannot go through this again. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I couldn't. No way in heaven or hell, for that matter, would I be able to endure another 18 months of what I had just recovered from. Now, as I was laying there almost 2 years to the date of when I had my initial diagnosis, I was in that same emergency room, wearing that same paper gown, ass and cooch exposed again, for a brand new shitload of strangers to see and stick, poke and prod, examine, assess, suppose, and hypothesize about me all over again. All I could think about were those stereotypical people we joke about who are always overreacting at funerals. You know, the ones who take one peek in the casket and start screaming and wailing and falling out. The ones always exclaiming, "Oh Lord, sweet Jesus, why, Lord Jesus, take me there, Lord." Yeah, that was me. People are always saying to me, "You're so strong, brave, and independent." You think I do that shit alone because I want to? No, it's because I have to. I'm about to have to go through all of this surgery crap again, alone and by myself. Do you know how much that sucks? But I did it the last time. I guess I'll do it this time. Thursday, December 24th, 2009. Well, it's Christmas Eve again. Another year has passed, and here I sit alone again. Yesterday, I got the most devastating news. I went to the follow up for my ER visit, and to put it bluntly, the doctors basically feel like it's not worth it to go through such a risky procedure with such a long recovery period and to expose me to the formation of more adhesions and scar tissue for a 2 centimeter endometrioma cyst, only to have me come back in another 18 months or so for yet another surgery. She feels like it's too big a risk and basically feels like we'll get into a cycle of doing this over and over again. Her solution? She doesn't think my symptoms will ever completely subside or I'll be pain free unless they go in and take everything out. And by everything, I mean all my reproductive parts, i.e. hysterectomy. They really seem to like pushing that shit. So then I'll not be able to have children. Well, I promptly dismissed that and asked, what about any non-surgical options? Not many, she said. What the hell? As a doctor, she says that her team is basically stuck and they don't know what to do with me. Before deciding to do anything, she says she wants to wait another 2 weeks for another ultrasound to see what's really going on. But what the fuck does it matter if you don't know what to do with me? Then she said she wants to refer me to this doctor in Evanston who's supposed to be a pelvic pain specialist. They said I may be able to get a second opinion or other options. In addition to that, she changed my meds again back to a 30 milligram birth control pill this time. So now I've got to take birth control pills, ibuprofen pills, Norco, and some new med that's actually an antidepressant, but is also used to treat chronic pain. I start tonight, so we'll see what happens. So I get to do this regimen for about a month or so, then check back into this whole wait and see approach, which sucks. Meanwhile, I'm going to ask her if they can at least drain the fluid from my tube to see if that will at least help in alleviating the pain. In the meantime, we're stuck with more wait and see. What kind of bullshit is this? We don't know what to do with you. We don't know what to do with you. Those words echoed in my head over and over and over again. Who in seven hells sanctioned this type of foolishness? How can you not know what else to do with me? You are the doctor. You are the professionals. You went to school for years and years. You spent all that money to put all of those accolades and letters behind your name. How in the hell can you not know what else to do with me? What kind of half-wit dumbasses were these people? Frustrated was an understatement. I was absolutely mortified. I was beginning to feel just like that because, hell, at this point, I didn't know what to do with me either. There was one thing I did know. I was not about to let this new development drag me back down the dark hole of despair from which I had just spent the last 18 months freeing myself. So I took a breath, took a moment, and allowed myself to become still. I sat there, breathing and quiet, clearing my head of all the mental clutter and internal chatter. Once I commanded my emotions to settle down, I took a mental step back and reevaluated the situation by looking only at the facts. First, this disease was not going anywhere. Despite all the best efforts thus far, it has resurfaced and now poses another potential threat. Second, the current medical team that I am working with have exhausted all of their options in the realm of their expertise, which I feel is clearly limited as it relates to endometriosis. Third, there are more doctors with a wider, greater, more extensive scope of knowledge specifically in this area. Fourth, I have been given a referral to one such doctor in order to explore other options and possibilities for treatment. Fifth, having a hysterectomy is absolutely not an option for me. Sixth, I have about a month to wait before I can be seen by this new doctor. Seventh, if I do nothing while I wait, chances are pretty high that the disease will continue to spread and things will get worse. Eight, however, if I at least continue with this new pain management regimen in the meantime, there is also a chance that some of my symptoms will improve. If not, perhaps they won't progress either. Ninth, this new pain management drug, Elavil, might actually prove to be useful since it is also used to treat depression as well as chronic pain. And it just may keep me from spiraling out of control like I did before. 10, nothing left to do now but watch, wait, and pray. Friday, January 15th, 2010. I finally went to see that pelvic pain specialist, and the good news is she says I do not have to have a hysterectomy. Praise God for that. What she did say was that she thinks we would have to change my meds again. Hopefully, she will give me something that will control my pain, but not have me all loopy and sluggish like I am now. So I've got to take the current meds for one more week. Then this Friday, I'll switch to the new stuff. It is good that I'm starting on the weekend. That way, if anything loopy does happen to me, I'll have the weekend to recover. Additionally, both doctors recommended physical therapy with a pelvic floor specialist. They both agreed that with the pelvic floor therapy, it will help. Praise God, thank you, Jesus, hallelujah, and all that. My latest doctor, an endo specialist, said you do not have to get a hysterectomy. Those words washed over me with the refreshing coolness of a summer rain in the middle of a hot, sticky day. Talk about waiting to exhale. Whitney Houston didn't have anything on me. I don't think I ever sighed so deeply, so fully, so intentionally in all my life. When she said it, I wanted to leap off that exam table and kiss her. Instead, I sat there. As water filled my eyes with my hands cupped over my mouth, I was gasping thank you over and over again while in my mind I was channeling Sophia from The Color Purple, thinking repeatedly, I know there is a God. Though I was not happy about changing medications again and having to go through another physical and emotional side effect withdrawal adjustment, I was willing to try whatever it took in order to avoid being cut up, sliced, and diced, especially if that meant it would bring me any measurable amount of relief. I had never heard of pelvic floor therapy before that day, but if it allowed me to keep my insides intact, I was willing to give it a shot. February 2nd, 2010. So I'm changing meds again. This Neurontin crap has had me literally feeling like I'm on a roller coaster, and I have been eating ravenously for damn near 2 weeks, and I am not having that. So they are switching me back to the Elavil, this time at a significantly reduced dose. I do have to taper off this other crap for the next couple days before I can do the switch. Hell, it was making me all loopy, and it wasn't even controlling the pain. I'll be so glad when I'm completely healed from this. My uber excitement over not having to get a hysterectomy was slowly being replaced by the uncontrollable urge to punch somebody in the throat. And by somebody, I meant the proverbial mad scientist who had discovered a plethora of ways to keep men sexually active till they're 100 years old, but could not come up with anything better for treating endometriosis other than drug us or gut us. My resident frustration was becoming riled again. I truly could not understand it. Why was it so difficult to find a method of treatment or a plan that worked, continued to work, and work well? The doctors did not prepare me for this shit. I sincerely did not expect to still be dealing with this 2 years later. The constant cycle of try this medication for 2 weeks. No, switch to that medication. Sorry, lost my place. The constant cycle of try this medication for 2 weeks. No, switch to this one for a month. Up this dose, lower that dose. See this specialist. Try that therapist. Take this test. Get this scan. Wait for the results. It was beginning to make a sister incredibly weary. I had laid on more beds and tables, flashed my privates to more strangers, had been poked, stuck, stretched open by more cold, hard metal objects than an X-rated porn star. I felt like a walking petri dish, a perpetual case study for some biological experiment. No wonder I ended up in therapy. It was taking all the determination I had for me not to end back up there again. Sunday, March 21st, 2010. I'm a little nervous. I'm supposed to give myself a break from the continuous birth control starting tomorrow. And I must admit, I'm not too thrilled about it. I have already been cramping most of the week. My right breast has been so swollen and my nipple is so tender. It's like my body knows what's coming. I could not have been ovulating because everything was supposed to be shut down. I took 3 ibuprofen 800s with no apparent relief setting in. That was about 9 this morning, so I just took half a Norco to try to head off the major pain before it has a chance to set in. I mean, really set in. I've already had traces of blood in my urine for the past 2 days, so maybe the flow will start soon and end just as soon. The idea behind this whole experiment is that if I follow the Seasonique method, like take the pill for 3 months and then take a break and let my body have or attempt to have a period, it's sort of a break, then I won't have these episodes where I bleed on and on for 2 to 3 months at a time. In theory, I could see how this would work, but in reality, I just don't know that it will. July 16th, 2010. So I went to the doc for my 3 month follow up since March. I had my second period since then, and I have been doing okay. I was considering asking them to up my Elavil to 15 milligrams because it seems as if I had developed a tolerance to the 10 milligram. It just isn't controlling the pain as well as it used to. So just as I expected, they do a pap smear. And when they go in, they find something funky looking. Their words, not mine, on my cervix that doesn't look quite right. Again, their words, not mine. So now they have to go in and do some extensive scraping so that they can get a really good sample to see what's going on. Apparently, some of the scar tissue on my cervix has been bleeding. And that is where the bleeding is coming from during sexual penetration or stimulation, although not always the case. So in addition to all of that, I have had to have another ultrasound done in October. And after these test results come back, they'll have a better grasp of what's going on. Hold on, you guys. I have some other tabs open here. Trying to figure out what that is so that I can turn it off. Okay. I had tabs open and automatically started playing, so that took me out of my zone. But getting back to the end of that chapter. So they're giving me another ultrasound, and now we're waiting for more tests to come back. It seemed to me that they were always trying to get a better grasp of what was going on. As I sat there listening, it took all the God in me to restrain myself from responding with the satirical line made famous by the character Snoop in the TV show The Wire to tell them, shit, me too. Exasperated sigh. This is really frustrating, but I refuse to let it further discourage me. There's even talk of a biopsy to make sure it's not cancer, which I just rebuke right now in Jesus' name. They started throwing around that damn H word again, hysterectomy, which I also rebuke and refuse in Jesus' name as well. So I'm just going to wait and see. And in the meantime, keep doing what I have to do. So that's the end of that chapter, you guys. And just to kind of summarize what has happened since then. So that was in 2010. And unfortunately, in 2012, 2 years after that, I was diagnosed with adenomyosis. And that was also the time when I guess you could say, officially started my endometriosis awareness advocacy. That was the first year that I had ever done the Fighting Fiercely Expo. And then 2 years after that was when I started writing the book. And then in 2015 was when Fighting Fiercely was released. And oh God, it just dawned on me, gosh, my baby will be 5 years old this year. Yeah, so we did the book was released in 2015. 2016 was the last Fighting Fiercely Expo that we did. Unfortunately, my health issues with the endo and adeno continue to progress. And between that and the financial barriers of the growing expo, I couldn't afford to continue financing it on my own, which led me to kind of switch gears a little bit and to advocate more in the virtual space, which was about the time when my YouTube channel was launched. And then that led to back-to-back surgeries in November 2017 and then May of 2018, where I unfortunately finally had to succumb to getting a hysterectomy, but not for the endometriosis, but because my adenomyosis had progressed so severely, like there was literally like a hole in the back of my uterus, and it was causing all kinds of problems. And so that brings me to where I am today, you guys. Still educating, enlightening, and empowering. Still advocating, connecting more and more. Hey, Samantha. Connecting more and more with endo advocates across the states and now across the globe to expand my message, to make it even broader. I've partnered now with the Chronic Disease Coalition as an advocate for them for both endometriosis and chronic pain illnesses. And that's where I am. I've kind of embraced this thing and made it a part of my life. It doesn't control me, but I've definitely taken that pain of all of what I've experienced with this and turned it into a passion so that I can help other women who are going through the same thing that I experienced, so they don't have to deal with that alone the way that I did. So that is the chapter reading, you guys. And again, at this time, I'm going to open up the floor to any questions. Any of you guys that are out there, if you have any questions for me, did anything that I read in the book jump out to you? Were you reading it like, oh my gosh, I had the same experience or something similar happened to me? You guys want to chime in? I am open. The floor is open for questions, comments, feedback, all of that good stuff. So we'll just take a couple minutes and see if any of you guys have any questions or comments. Type away in the comments and hopefully they will come up in real time here. So I'll just wait a couple seconds. And while I'm waiting for the questions to come in, if you guys want to see more videos, more of what I've done in the social spaces, you guys can follow me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Fight Fierce Endo. You guys can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I put the link at the bottom of this video here in the description. YouTube is still playing with us. Like, even though we've met all of our requirements, they still have not allowed us to customize our channel name to Fighting Fiercely. So the link is down below. Also, if you guys are interested in getting a signed copy of Fighting Fiercely, if you don't have a copy and you want one from me, I also put the special link down there as well, my PayPal link. And as I was going through inventory today, I just realized that I only have 2 signed copies left on hand. 2 signed copies. So if you want to grab those, swoop down into the PayPal link, click that link. It'll give you all the instructions on how to order that. And if you miss the signed copies, you can still get both paperback and Kindle versions are available on Amazon, and that link is down in the description as well. Just want to check the comments. Lashana or Madeline, Dolores, you ladies have any questions? Samantha, any questions or commentary? Did you like the chapter reading? How was that for you? Did that make you interested in buying the book? Did it relate to your own personal experience with someone fighting endometriosis? Let me know, you guys. And so, yeah, all the links and everything that I referenced during our little chat is going to be down in the description there. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. But no. Oh, for those of you who do order the signed copies, I do need to let you know that shipping on those may be a little delayed because obviously with us, sheltering in place and limiting our trips outside, only going out for necessities, will have to wait until like another essential run for something like food or meds before I can get to the post office. But I'll definitely be sure to check in with you, to keep in contact to let you know when your books are shipped out. And let's see, is there anything? And also, when we do order, when I do get more signed copies of the book in, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted and let you guys know as well. Gosh, okay, you guys don't have any questions, or maybe you do, and I know sometimes when I do these lives, I'm still doing it from my technologically challenged Facebook laptop that's a couple years old. And sometimes I know when people are asking questions live, I don't always see it in real time. So I will go back and take a look through the comments so that I can see if you guys left any questions there, and I'll be sure to answer them. And if you did have a question or comment that you're not comfortable asking in the live, you can always inbox me. You can always DM me and ask privately, and I will do my best to make sure that I can answer. So, and on that note, I don't see any questions coming in. Like I said, if they may be coming and I just can't see them. So, oh, thank you, Lashana. Lashana says she loved the video. It was like an evening poetry reading. Well, thank you, girl. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And actually, Lashana, you and a couple other votes, that was your title that won the contest. So thank you, everybody who voted for that chapter. So as always, you guys, thank you so much for following me and supporting the work that I do. And you guys know that for us who are living with this disease, endometriosis is just not during the month of March, right? We advocate and educate all year long. So subscribe to the Facebook page if you haven't already. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Tomorrow is April 1st, which starts Adenomyosis Awareness Month, which I suffered from that. So I'm also going to be sharing information and facts about that as well. So make sure you are following us across all platforms so you don't miss that. Oh, that's okay, Michelle. When we end this live, give it about 15 minutes and it's gonna reboot and you'll be able to watch the replay. So no worries, girl. You'll get to see it again, but better late than never. I'm glad you made it on. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna wrap it up. I know we went a little bit long, but I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I hope you will go out and pick up a copy of Fighting Fiercely. I hope you guys will continue to follow and share the information. If you know somebody who has this disease or think may have this disease, if you need some support, somebody to talk to, reach out. I'm always available. I always say I'm fighting with you, I'm fighting for you, and we are all in this thing together, right? So that is all, you guys. And until next time, be educated, be enlightened, be empowered, and as always, keep fighting.